Yes, I'm back on the floor again. Hey Booktube, it's Kim at Middle of the Book March, and this is my bookish week for Sunday. I think it's the 18th. I think so. Yes, I'm back on the floor. The family's watching movies, and I thought, nope, I'm not going to film in my normal location, so here we are. I finished one book last week. That's fine. Yay. Yay for me, because I've got so many on the go, and I'm reading little bits and pieces of each one here and there for different reading projects and buddy reads and all that good stuff. And I had one DNF last week. I'll tell you about that first. I DNF'd Woman Eating by Claire Coda. And this is not a bad book. It just wasn't for me. And it had some parts of it that I wasn't interested in. It talks a lot about art. And I'm not really interested in modern art or interns within art studios. That's not an interest of mine. But the actual writing was very good. And the story, I think, is pretty good. But it just wasn't a Kim book. So I DNF'd that one at about the halfway point. One of the only reasons, honestly, is because I wasn't really striving to pick it back up as I was reading everything else. The other books I have in my pile, I'm like really eager to get to each one of them. And I've been trying to pace myself so I can do that pretty regularly. So, Woman Eating, not a bad book. I actually think it's a good book. A lot of you may really like it. I know that a lot of booktubers really liked it, enjoyed it. So definitely pick it up. It's a literary take on a vampire story, but not the type of vampire stories that you probably are thinking. So check it out. The one book I finished, I'm not even going to wrap up. What is wrong with me? I finished The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, the first in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This is a long time overdue reread for me, and I'm reading this with Heidi from My Reading Life and Doris from audiobook. And I finished it, but we haven't had our last check-in yet, so I'm not going to wrap this up. Honestly, it's a 5-star book for me. That was not going to be a surprise, but the details of how I feel about this book, I will talk to you about next week. So I'm going to talk to my buddy readers first. Now, if you are any of you newer booktubers, if you're new to this whole game, the classy and the considerate thing to do when you're buddy reading is not wrap up your book before you've actually ended the conversation with your buddy readers. So that's what I always try to do. So I won't be wrapping that up quite yet. Now, I have a very big stack of books currently going. And this one, George Elliott, A Biography by Gordon Haight, I'm almost done with it. And the way that let's see, I am almost done. Yeah, I'm almost 100 pages from being finished. And that's not bad. However, the print is small and the content is dense. But it's a biography of George Elliott. And the way that the book is set up, the first half is set up as a pretty straightforward biography. The last half is set up as a biography, which corresponds to each of the books that George Elliott wrote. So it's really interesting stuff, in chronological order, clearly. And it talks about how she felt during each of the book's writing process, what her life was like, publishing, her relationship with George Lewes, all of it, her life, all aspects of her life. And it's really interesting to connect those with each of the books that she was writing and publishing at that time. So super good, super good. And at the same time, I have embarked on my reread of Middlemarch for Classics and Company read-along, going through the end of March. I have only read 2 chapters so far, 3 chapters so far. Oh, my heart. It's just, I was going to read, I have a Penguins Classic, an older one I was going to read. However, this one, I realized, this is the Harper Perennials version. It has all my notes and annotations from the last time I read it. And I've been adding more along the way. This is a heavy book physically, so at first I was like, maybe I want to read the Penguin because it's a lot physically lighter, but this has all my notes and everything in it. So I've got, what did I say? I finished 3 chapters so far, and I've got arrows and notes and annotations all over the place. New ones. So I'm really loving the opportunity to talk about this with Classics and Company and everybody that's doing this read along. I've already posted a couple of quotes that I absolutely loved, and I will be reading this through the month of March. I am reading The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck with my in real life book group, The Critical Chicks. We're discussing this book, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about this right now. Steinbeck is one of my favorite American classics authors, so you know how that's going to go. I'm pretty sure you know how that's going to go. I am still reading Paradise by Toni Morrison. Now, this is a book I tried reading a year ago, 2 years, I don't remember which year it was. But I put it down at 50%, not as a DNF, but as a save for later. And I just picked it back up in honor of Black History Month. I started from the beginning, and I'm getting so much more out of it than I did before. And that's one of the benefits of putting a book down that you may get back to. This book is so filled and heavy with religious allegory, metaphor, discussions on racism, classism, paradise. What does paradise mean? Does paradise mean something different for a white person than a black person? And what are those definitions? So good. It is so good. And I may be a little over a quarter of the way through Paradise. And another book that I'm reading with my in real life book group, Grapes of Wrath, is a special project we have. We have several classics that we like to read as a side project through the year, and that's one of them. This is our regular pick, and it's Crow Mary by Kathleen Grissom. I am up to chapter 5, and so far so good. I'm really enjoying this. I haven't, not that far into it to even make a commentary of any sort, but we'll be talking about this on March 8th, I think. And those are all my currently readings. This book I'm starting a buddy read with this week with Sherry Hart. Sherry and I have done several buddy reads and reading projects together, and she's wonderful to talk to. We are going to be reading Dead Girls by Selva Almada. This has been translated from the Spanish, I believe. I think so. I think she's from Argentina. By Annie McDermott. And really looking forward to this one. This is Charco Press, an independent press that I just absolutely love. Charco Press published Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro. I try to roll the R's. I can't do it very well. But Charco Press has some amazing selections. Go and check them out. They have a great website so you can see everything. But we are going to be embarking on Dead Girls this week. And I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. We're going to read it in a week, so I'll have a wrap-up of this and The Fellowship of the Ring next Sunday. So come back and stay tuned for that. So that's all I have. What else could I talk to you about? Oh my goodness gracious. I did go book shopping yesterday. What did I do with my books? I put them on the shelf already. And I'm not going to even go and get them to show you. I bought a copy of The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I did not have that on my shelf. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. I have Villette, and I have the other Bronte sisters. I have Jane Eyre, and I have another Charlotte Bronte book. Is that what Villette? I don't remember. And I have Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights and like 6 different versions of it. So yeah, I had to add The Tenant of Wildfell Hall because I really am looking forward to reading that. And the other book I purchased was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Casey. And I've had my eye on that for a long time, and I found the Penguin copy of that orange classic cover, which I really love. So I was happy to purchase that one as well. Both of them from an in real life bookstore, an actual bookstore, brick and mortar bookstore. I love ordering books online. I've gotten burned a few times. I just got burned because I ordered I'm not going to tell you what it is. I ordered a copy of a classic that I've already read that I love, that I wanted a better copy, and I thought I ordered the right copy so that it was going to be good, but it came in and it was the wrong version. It was a mass market paperback that was really beat up and old. And I'm like, oh, I hate it when that happens. And I have reached out to online book vendors before, especially the used book vendors, and they've always told me, well, the picture isn't reflective of the actual book. Well, then why put a picture? And I also read the description. You can expand the description to see which publication it is, which publisher, what the date was, and you can track back to what version of the book that is. And if it's the book that doesn't match that description, then shame on you, book vendors. So that really bothered me. And I was thinking about, those things that bother me in a bookish way. And I'm gonna put a link to Melinda's video from Web of Stories. She did a video on these bookish things that bother her. And I thought it was so funny. And I was like, the whole time she's listing, I'm like, yep, that's me, absolutely. So I'm gonna put a link to that video down below. Go and check her out. And I think that's about it for me today. Well, I'm going to give you a little teaser. I'll give you a little teaser. So, I just finished The Fellowship of the Ring. I read this in this print copy. This is the actual TV tie-in. Yeah, I think so. This is from the Rings of Power tie-in. It's the actual text of The Fellowship of the Ring. But I switched between the print and the audiobook narrated by Andy Serkis. I just did a video on my favorite audiobooks, and I will link that below as well. You could check that out. Had I read this book first on audio, this would have been number one, because Andy Serkis narrating this book is fan-freaking-tastic. Because of this audiobook, I'm going to start a series next week, or this coming week, on audiobooks. So I might have a video, one a week, for the next month on some audiobook topic. So stay tuned for that. That's your teaser. And this audiobook, he also narrates The Two Towers. I don't know if he narrates The Return of the King. Excuse me, the second and third volume of the trilogy. I think he does. But I also have his narration of The Two Towers, which is number 2. And I expect that I will do the same thing. I will switch between audio and text. So that's your teaser for my audiobook series starting this week. And go and listen to The Fellowship of the Ring, narrated by Andy Serkis. He's incredible. If you don't know, he plays Gollum in the movies. So check it out. It is fantastic. That's it for me for this week. I will see you all in the next video. Write me a comment down below, and I will talk to you later. Bye.